When I was driving to pick up the car for this week, I was thinking to myself, I have never driven a minibus in my whole life. And in an hour I will be picking up the minibus of all minibuses. A minibus that has such a cult status and brings out nostalgia by a lot of people. A lot of people, except myself. I'm sorry, maybe I'm too young for it, I don't know, but I don't have that feeling. But again, a lot of people do. And I have never driven a minibus before. How am I going to review it? Well, hopefully you find I did a good job. Hello there, monsters and men, ladies and people. I am sitting in the Volkswagen id.buzz and welcome to Recharging. As I have already mentioned, I have no cult or nostalgia feeling with this id.buzz. But a lot of people do. The guy of Volkswagen told me that when you park this car, take at least 5 minutes extra because people want to have a look at it. And he was completely right. As soon as I parked this car in my street, I saw a neighbor walking by, having a look at the id.buzz, and before I knew it, I was standing there with 3 neighbors talking about the id.buzz and how well Volkswagen did a good job of referencing the Volkswagen T1 and T2. So, decide for yourself, did they do a good job or not? Do I have no feelings or emotions at all then with this car? Of course not. I have feelings and emotions too. In this two-tone color, yes, I find it a cool looking van. And this is even a bit of a boring combination. You can also get it in yellow or even better, in orange. But you can also get a white van and then, well, looks a bit less sexy, huh? The id.buzz is actually a bit longer than I initially thought it would be. It is 4.7 meters, but it is still shorter than a Volkswagen Transporter or a Volkswagen minibus because those cars are 5 meters. But don't be sad because Volkswagen already announced a long wheelbase version of the id.buzz. And you already guessed it, that is 5 meters long. That version also has a third row of seats as standard. And of course, being a van, it has a sliding door, and being an electric car, it has a electric sliding door. Besides this taxi passenger version of the id.buzz, there's also a cargo version and a not officially announced, but it will come, a id.buzz California camper. The Volkswagen id.buzz has the same electric motor in the rear as the Volkswagen ID.3. So that means 204 horsepower and 310 Newton meters of torque. But the numbers are a bit less impressive than that of the ID.3. One of the reasons for that is that this car weighs around 2,400 kilos. Without passengers, without luggage. So yeah, this is a heavy beast. Therefore, going from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour will take you at least 10.2 seconds. And the top speed of this car is 145 kilometers an hour. So yeah, those numbers again are not impressive. They are actually pretty slow for a modern day electric car. But if you ask me, I think it's fine for the type of car though. The car is quick enough. The id.buzz has a 77 kilowatt-hour battery pack as standard, and according to the WLTP, it can do 413 kilometers on that 77 kilowatt-hours. If you take the long wheelbase version of the ID.3, you get 285 horsepower, somewhere around there. So it is maybe a bit quicker, and you also get a 86 kilowatt-hour battery pack as standard, and that will give you a WLTP range of around 460 kilometers. Then the rear of the id.buzz, well, it is a van or a minibus, so that means it is shaped like a brick. That means this is straight. Yeah, there is not a whole lot to talk about, is it? But, have I already mentioned, it is a van or a minibus. That means if I open up the boot, where is it? Over there. Electric tailgate, of course. Then the boot is big enough for me to climb in it without any problems. Look at this. As you can see, I am sitting on a Razor. And this Razor does not come as standard, it is an option. And here is one of the biggest flaws of the Volkswagen id.buzz, if you ask me. Because I assume if you buy a van, you want maximum space and maximum versatility. The biggest flaw of the Volkswagen id.buzz is that the rear seats cannot be removed. Of course, if you really want to, they can probably be removed somehow, but they are not designed to be removed easily. That means if you want to create a flat floor to slide longer items forward, like I did yesterday with a desk, you need to have this Razor. Then the space I am sitting in at the moment, without this Razor, is 1111 liters, so loads of space. And if you fold down the rear seats, which you can do by a lever at the side of the seat or by these red straps behind the seat, there it goes, you get a boot space of 2205 liters. Who needs a California camper? Just put a mattress in here and, well, let's go to sleep. No, I'm not going to sleep, no worry. I'm still in this review. I am awake, very awake. If you have the long wheelbase version though of the Volkswagen id.buzz, then the space behind the third row is 306 liters. No worry, the third row of the long wheelbase versions, those seats can be removed easily. And if you do that, you have a space of 1340 liters. And if you then put down the rear seats with the long wheelbase version, you have 2340 liters. So yeah, it is very big, very big. Then, are there other things here in the boot? Well, you do have these armrests because, well, also this long wheelbase version is already prepared for a third row for some reason. You have a button here for your tow hook, a 12-volt socket, and there are some hooks here to, well, there's one hook here. The Volkswagen id.buzz is a minibus, like I have mentioned and you have seen in this review multiple times. And what you expect from a minibus are two things. One, when the wind is coming from the side, you can feel that because it is shaped like a brick. This id.buzz though is no exception because it is a high car that is shaped like a brick. And because it is a high car and shaped like a brick, you also expect it to lean in the corners, and especially when you take a corner with the highest speed. And I have good news because the Volkswagen id.buzz doesn't really do that much. And one of the reasons for that is that, well, there is a heavy battery pack located in the floor of this car. And therefore the center of gravity of this car is relatively low, and therefore it doesn't lean as much in the corners. So for a minibus and just for a car in general, the id.buzz drives fine. And I think for a minibus, the id.buzz drives really good. The suspension is also comfortable. Yes, over a speed bump the suspension is a bit firm, but you have to keep in mind that the car is designed to cope with a weight of 2400 kilos minimum, and I am driving this car alone, and the car is designed to drive with passengers and luggage, so even more weight, so then the suspension will be better. The noise levels, again, shaped like a brick, but the noise levels, also when there is wind, are really good. This is a quiet car. So overall, yeah, I'm very pleased with the id.buzz and the driving of the id.buzz. And also, one thing that I am not used to from other cars is, look at all these windows. The visibility is amazing. Large windows all around me. The id.buzz has a 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, and with that 77 kilowatt hours, according to the WLTP, it can do 413 kilometers. But from my experience, that 413 kilometers, yeah, that is a tough one to reach. The drag coefficient of the id.buzz is 0.28, which for this type of car I find a very good value. But again, it is shaped like a brick. That means there is a lot of surface area that has to battle through the wind. And therefore, when there is just a slight amount of wind, I cannot reach 413 kilometers. It is just not possible. So when driving on mixed roads, I get around 350 to 400 kilometers of range. And when driving faster on the highway, I get 250 to 300 kilometers of range. I think the only way that you can achieve that 413 kilometers is when driving in summer, because when you are driving in winter, well, you can forget it. So you have to drive in summer. Then there must be no wind, or you must be driving only in the city. But still, for this type of car, I get an average consumption of around 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, 2021, and I don't find that a bad value if I'm honest. Just like any other Volkswagen product with the 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, the maximum fast charging speed of the id.buzz is 175 kilowatts. Fast charging it from 10 to 80% will take you around 30 minutes. As standard, the id.buzz has a 11 kilowatt onboard charger, and therefore charging it from 0 to 100% will take you around 8 hours. Looks good, right? Yeah, the light color, the blue here that matches the exterior color, the fake wood here on the dashboard. I really like what Volkswagen has done here. But, yeah, there is always a but. This is a German car, this is the most luxury version, so now let me show you a picture of the standard interior of the id.buzz. And now let me show you a picture of the standard interior of the cargo version of the id.buzz. Yeah, that all looks a bit less sexy, right? And therefore I am a little bit hesitant to give you my opinion about this interior. Just keep in mind that everything you see here is not standard. Then the build quality of the id.buzz seems absolutely fine to me. Everything feels solid. Of course, mostly hard plastics are being used, but that is what we are used to from vans. But the plastic isn't as nasty as in a pre-facelifted Volkswagen ID.3. So there, I have nothing to complain. And then probably the most important thing, all the features here in the interior. First of all, you have huge door pockets. There are 2 USB-C ports down here and one in the passenger door. Every seat has 2 armrests, so one at the right but also one at the left, and that is amazing for a very comfortable driving position. Nice fixed steering wheel, plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel, good seats, plenty of adjustment in the seat. The center console with removable dividers, and one divider has a bottle opener in it. And Volkswagen, Skoda called, they want their idea back for their ice scraper. Yep, there is an ice scraper here in this divider. Then there is a trash can or some storage here in front of the center console. If you put this down, there are 2 cup holders. There is a reasonable size glove box. In this glove box, I don't know if this is standard, is a trash can that you can put here in the cup holders. There is some space above the glove box for some papers or whatever. So yeah, I don't know what people expect from a van interior, but it seems fine to me. All electric car reviewers reviewed a Volkswagen ID.3 with software that wasn't done yet. And most car reviewers still have nightmares about that. But that was 3 years ago, and in 3 years a lot can happen. And in those 3 years Volkswagen updated their software. And the software in this id.buzz, I have to say, worked absolutely fine. Yeah, sometimes it is still not the most responsive software, but I have no major complaints anymore, and I would be a happy user using this every day. I would happily use this every day. Also, the haptic feedback buttons on the steering wheel. Yes, physical buttons are better, so please Volkswagen, bring back physical buttons. But I got used to them, and well, they didn't bother me during my test period. One thing to keep in mind though is that from 2024 all ID cars will receive the new screen that was presented in the Volkswagen ID.7, also this Volkswagen id.buzz, but cars with the old screen that you see here will also get that new software. Welcome to the rear bench of a van. That means loads of headroom, loads of knee room, loads of space to sit here with 3 people. Just in general, there is plenty of space back here. Then there are huge door pockets, there are USB-C ports in the door, and those USB-C ports deliver 45 watts. That is enough power to charge a laptop, for example. There are tables here on the front seats, I have no idea if this is standard though, but this version has them. And also the table is a bit too high for a laptop if you ask me. Then there is a seat pocket and another seat pocket. Here in the center console there is a huge storage space. You can slide the seat backwards and forwards, the other way around. I said it wrong, the other way around. And you can also recline the seat backwards if you want to. The only thing that is missing here for some reason is a middle armrest. Just like the interior, you have to keep in mind that this is a German car. And therefore, all driving and safety features and systems are available on the id.buzz. Just a lot of them are not standard. So did I develop some nostalgia feelings for this id.buzz? Well, no. No, I did not. Don't get me wrong though, in this two-tone color I find it a cool looking van. It is so spacious, you can fit everything in it that a family can possibly need. But would I buy one? No, no I would not. Maybe I am too practical or too boring, but for less money I can get a car with the same 77 kilowatt hour battery pack, a car that is more comfortable, spacious enough and way more efficient. A Volkswagen ID.4 or a Skoda Enyaq. So again, personally, I would not buy one, but I can totally understand if you would. And that was the review of the Volkswagen id.buzz. I hope you liked it, and if you did, it would be awesome if you subscribed and gave a like. And well, if you have something to say, feel free to leave a comment. And then I would like to say now thank you a lot for watching, and as always, to be continued.